this thing on? I think this thing is on. Welcome, everybody, to another Georgia Archery podcast. I'm your host, Big John Chandler, and this is where we talk about, well, anything and everything to do with archery in the state of Georgia and Georgia archers, wherever they may shoot. Well, how was your weekend? Everybody out there, have a good weekend. There was this icy weather that came in on this side of the world. Post a picture in the comments below of your iciness if you took some pictures. I'd like to see what everybody did who's watching this this past weekend. So did you thaw out from this past weekend? I know it's warmed up and all our streets are dry where we're at, but I know that the Northeast is still got some ice and still out of power and that type of thing. So I hope everybody gets back to normal soon. So, hey, did you get signed up for TAC? Today was the day to sign up for TAC for Tennessee. Did you get signed up? If you did, post in the comments below what time you're shooting, what range. If you're shooting Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, whatever. Just post below so that everybody can know, and we try to meet up with all the Georgia guys that are going to TAC this in May. So, that's what's been, urgently happening today. So who shot this past weekend? Well, the Lancaster Archery Classic was this past weekend in Pennsylvania. Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It was actually in Mayhem at the Spooky Nook Complex. And man, they had a crowd. 3,600, I think is what the number ended up being. But the incoming weather made things change. So if they went through their regular qualifying round, fine. Nobody shot a perfect score in the qualifying round. So, he got to keep his $20,000 this time. Rob Koffel can keep it for next time. That'd be awesome. Anyway, they shot their normal score, but the weather was coming. Everybody knew it. We've all been preparing for it all week long. But, so they did some changing of how they did their shoot up. So after they did their qualifying and then they did their brackets and they got to their top 8, the top 4, whatever, instead of people shooting on Sunday, they did some juggling and got everything done on Saturday. But they had to launch another YouTube channel so that they could have 2 streams going at once. So they actually built 2 stages. Not just one with all the lights and all the stuff like they've always done, but they built a second one with the stands and the stage and the whole nine in a separate part. The logistics for doing that is just phenomenal. And you have to have a channel for 24 hours before you can go live on it the first time, and they just beat it by a few minutes, which is pretty good. But it was pretty cool, but it was hard to go back and forth watching it. So you open it in your app on one and on the web browser on the other and try to get both of them going at the same time. At least that's what we did at the stores. We watched the main event and watched the secondary feed on the your phone or whatever, so that we keep up with everybody. But there was some good stuff going on watching that new rule about 4 12s. You can shoot 4 12s whenever you want to, but you can only shoot 4 in a round or in a match. It's pretty interesting. It made things change. So we had a bunch of Georgians up there. Congratulations that everybody went up. I hope they all made it back safe. So some did. Some got stranded and not come back till later. And with the air flights and all of that, and the planes being down. But George Riles from Georgia won the Senior Male Open Pro. So congratulations, George, on that. And that was this past weekend. Also, Evgeni Bowman had the first ASA qualifier down there, and they ended up with 34 that shot for score, and they had 11 shoot for fun. The weather down there on Saturday must have been a lot better than the weather up here was coming, but it came through not as bad down there for sure. So probably a little warmer. And Sunday, Well, we didn't have anything, so we was watching. We thought we was going to be watching Lancaster on Sunday, but they had moved everything to Saturday. So, like I asked before, did you get qualified or signed up for the TAC? And it opened at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, which is 11 o'clock today. And I know a lot of guys. We had a couple of customers come in. They did get signed up, and they're shooting all weekend. So if you did, post when you're shooting and where in the comments below. So there's some things going on that you might want to know about. The S3DA Indoor is not this weekend, but next weekend. And if you haven't got registered yet, you need to get signed up. So if you've qualified to shoot that event, you go on and get signed up. We're trying to get numbers put in so that everybody knows who's what, when, where. And that registration will close pretty quickly, probably Sunday. So we want to make sure everybody, all the S3Ders get signed up. Also, the GBAA State Indoor and NFAA Southeast Sectional is the Valentine's weekend, 14th and 15th. If you haven't signed up for that event, you're planning on going, go ahead and sign up. There's multiple ways to do it, and I'm going to explain it. If you go to the GBAA website, there is a information about where and some links to click. If you're going to shoot the sectional and the state, you can go to the NFAA Sport 80 portal and sign up for both. If you're just going to shoot the state part, you can go to Georgia Southern's webpage to sign up, but there is a link to it, and you can just sign up, and you can pick your days of when you want to shoot. So I'm just pushing those out there because I want everybody to, see the event, get signed up, know that it's ahead of time, and those are things that you got to pre-sign up for. A lot of other stuff like 3D shoots, most of them you just show up, pay your money, and go. But these events that you have to use an indoor facility and so forth take a little bit of time to get everybody, so we want to make sure everybody gets signed up. So there was a post done, I finally saw it, and I want to talk about it. The ASA Federation Shooter of the Year rules. There was a whole lot of scuttlebutt last year about the Shooter of the Year rules. As you remember, we went through that and posted it and talked about it on the podcast. So I'm just going to read them so that everybody has them. There's a link to it out there. I have a link to it on the webpage so that you can read the rules. But number one, all shooters must be an ASA current member before competing in any ASA Georgia State qualifier. In other words, you have to be a member. You can't go shoot and then come back and go, oh, I need to pay for my membership and use that score. You have to have it paid before you shoot your event. If you're trying to receive shooter year points, shooters may shoot for fun class if you're not a member, right? So they still have a fun class that you can go and shoot at a qualifier and not, put your stuff in for the qualifier. Only qualifiers shot inside the state of Georgia will count for the shooter year scores. So if you go to Carolinas and shoot a ASA qualifier, those scores will not count. If you go to Alabama and shoot a qualifier, Tennessee, all the connected states, Florida, whatever, and you shoot a qualifier, those won't count for the shooter year. It must be a qualifier inside the state of Georgia. So let's see, shooter that win a state championship and are shooter of the year in a class must move up to the higher class at the federation level for next year's competition. So if you won state championship and is shooter of the year and are shooter of the year, you should move up. The exception is senior and master classes, or if any class has less than 5 shooters in the class. It will be up for discussion with the state and national director. All ASA competition rules and regulations apply to all Shooter of the Year state qualifiers. So the normal rules that ASA always puts out, Those are the rules that we're using. All amateur classes are recognized by the ASA. So anybody that's in an amateur class can get shooter of the year points. Semi-pro and amateur classes will be based on a shooter's 4 highest qualifying scores plus the state. So shooter of the year awards for all classes that average 2 or less competitors at the end of the season may be eliminated based on the actual participation. The youth classes and Eagle classes are out of that. So we need more participation in your class. If you're the only one that shot your class all year long, that's what that's about. Competitors must compete in at least 4 of the sanctioned qualifiers and shoot the state championship to be eligible for Shooter of the Year awards. So 4 qualifiers, Shooter of the Year, and state. So essentially, if you shot 7, you're 4 best in the state. That's what it finishes up. Shooters may make 1 class change per year with approval from the state director. If the shooter elects to change classes during the year, they will still be required to have 4 qualifiers in the new class to be eligible for Shooter of the Year. ASA Federation will provide Shooter of the Year belt buckles at the state championship for all classes that are eligible. Youth and Eagle classes will receive buckles for Shooter of the Year with 1 or more competitors competing in 3 required qualifiers in state championship. So the 3 for youth and Eagle instead of 4. So 2 scorecards are mandatory at each qualifier. There is no exceptions. You must have 2 scorecards for each shooter. Competitors' total points will come from the highest 4 scores of the qualifiers that they shoot inside the state and their state championship score. In the case there's a tie at the end of the season, the 12 count will determine the winner. If the score and the 12 count are the exact same, which is unlikely but can happen, then it will be a draw and both competitors win. The state championship score to be added at the end. For qualified ASA clubs, all ranges are required to set the following stakes and should have them posted at the sign-in table. A black stake at 50 yards, a white stake at 45 yards max, a red stake at 40 yards, and a yellow stake at 25, a green stake at 20, and an orange stake at 15. Now those are the maximums. That doesn't mean they all have to be at 50 or all have to be at 15, but that's the maximum and you need to set all those stakes. Any problems or issues, the state director will have the final decision. So, what do you think about those rules? Comment below. From what I've read, no bonus points for going to multiple shoots. Your 4 best scores and your state. Go after it. I think that's a good thing. I think that was the biggest scuttlebutt last year. Was the some people call it participation points. I think in the paperwork it was bonus points, but there's none of that this year. So get your best 4 scores in. If you have a bad score, go somewhere else and shoot. There are a lot of qualifiers this year. Matter of fact, ACE has become a club again and should be hosting 2 of those qualifiers added to that list. So that's 2 more that were on that long list of qualifiers. I haven't counted it lately, but it's getting bigger and bigger every day. So we have lots of choices and lots of places to shoot. I'm happy with it. What do you think below? You just comment below. What do y'all think? So that's the rules. That's where it's at. Shooter of the Year rules. If you have any questions, you can always talk to Randy. shout out to Alicia for helping keep up with Shooter to Your Points and keeping up with all of the internet postings so that people can keep up with what's going on. So the ASA Archery Festival, they posted a few rules. What do you think about those new rules? Inside out. Inside out. Here's the ring. You touch the line. It counts for the lower score. You must be inside that line. Well, they ain't gonna be fussing if it's touching the line anymore, because it's gonna be on the inside. So the fussing will be, it's not touching the line. Nobody's gonna fuss about it touching the line. They're all gonna say it's not touching the line. So that's the new fuss. But it's interesting. It looks like it's gonna be a whole lot of fun with a bunch of hunting bows and a bunch of guys having a great time. So let's see here. So who's shooting this weekend? Well, this weekend will be I just lost it. Can you believe that? My freaking computer just wanted to act stupid all of a sudden. So who's shooting this weekend? Well, the S3DA last regional qualifier is this weekend for indoor. And there's 112 kids signed up for that event this weekend, and it will be in Monroe, hosted by the ASA Apaches. And yes, they're calling for a little bit of weather, and we are watching it very closely. But as of right now, the event is still on because it's an indoor event, and it just looks like it's going to be a little light dusting of snow, if anything. So everybody should be able to get there just fine. But there was a shoot that was scheduled for this past weekend, and it was I just lost it. It was Big Creek was scheduled for a qualifier this weekend, but they had to move it because of the inclement weather that's coming. Even if it's not snowing, they're calling for 20-degree high and winds blowing 15 miles an hour for Saturday and Sunday. So that's going to be cold. Nobody really wants to get out there and shoot that cold. So that has been moved to the February 28th and March 1st. So that qualifier has been shifted over for February 20th. And my hat's off to JB and the guys down there at Big Creek to make sure that, the 3 people that would show up in the freezing cold, and try to truck through the snow, they can move and get more people. So the participation will be better. So, that's a good thing on that. As far as Sunday, that would have been Big Creek again. And they have not, they're not shooting, they're moving it. So that's what's going on this weekend. Remember, if you want me to talk about anything that's on your calendar and you want us to discuss it, you can always send me an email at info@georgiaarchery@gmail.com, and I'll put it in my list of things I want to talk about. Also, the www.georgiaarchery.com has the calendar of everything that we do have enlisted, so you can find that at the website, georgiaarchery.com. Also on the website, there's pictures and there's posts and there's different things. This information about the Shooter of the Year. It's also shared on all social media, and you can find us anywhere and everywhere on all the social medias there are. We're on the Twitters, and we're on the Instagrams, and we're on the Snappy Chats, and everywhere there is. Also, this audio file can be heard on any podcast audio, your favorite app. Even if we're not, send me a message and I'll make sure we get it posted onto your favorite podcast app. You can always find us on YouTube. This video goes out weekly. Interviews, things like that go out. There'll be some shorts, and all of that's made from. You can always find us anywhere, and if you have questions, always send me an email. So, info@georgiaarchery.com. So, what do you think? Yes, this is a quick and simple one. No guest tonight. You know, it's going to be, and we're going to be knocking it out. Things are going to get faster and faster, more and more. I'll be having to talk a whole lot more about a whole lot more shoots. I know on the Georgia Archery has countdowns to most of these shoots. 3D is coming fast, so Foley will be here before we know it. And then there's still two more indoor national events that will happen. Besides S3DA and national events, there will also be Vegas comes in and indoor nationals for NFAA. U.S. Archery has started a lot of their national events in different places. So, there's a lot more indoor still going on, but 3D is definitely happening. So, get out there, teach someone how to shoot a bow. It will last them a lifetime. Until next time, I'm Big John.